John 7:14 through 24. When the festival was about half finished, Jesus went to the temple and began to teach. The Jewish leaders were amazed and said, "How did this man learn so much? He never had the kind of teaching we had." Jesus answered, "What I teach is not my own. My teaching comes from the one who sent me. People who really want to do what God wants will know that my teaching comes from God. They will know that this teaching is not my own. If I taught my own ideas, I would just be trying to get honor for myself. But if I am trying to bring honor to the one who sent me, I can be trusted. Anyone doing that is not going to lie. Moses gave you the law, right? But you don't obey that law. If you do, then why are you trying to kill me?" The people answered, "A demon is making you crazy. We are not trying to kill you." Jesus said to them, "I did one miracle on a Sabbath day, and you were all surprised. But you obey the law Moses gave you about circumcision, and sometimes you do it on the Sabbath day. Really, Moses is not the one who gave you circumcision. It came from our ancestors who lived before Moses. Yes, you often circumcise baby boys on the Sabbath day. This shows that someone can be circumcised on a Sabbath day to obey the law of Moses. So why are you angry with me for healing a person's whole body on the Sabbath day? Stop judging by the way things look. Be fair and judge by what is really right."
A dancing mom. My brother Bob, then 15 or 16, was good at playing an accordion. He and the other band members were playing a polka. Everyone else was dancing and having a good time. I was 5 or 6 and remember getting to dance with my mom. We won a box of chocolate-covered cherries for being the best dancers. By the way, I hate chocolate-covered cherries. A lot of changes came in the next few years.
A new preacher moved to town, and we had to give up our dancing. I couldn't play cards anymore, and I couldn't go to the movies on Sundays. Years later, after my dad passed away, my mom was living at a retirement home.
She decided to take up line dancing as an exercise, but asked my brothers and me what we thought. We all told her that she should go right ahead and enjoy herself. We even came to watch her a few times, and she was pretty good. One day, a few months later, I asked her if she was still enjoying line dancing. She said she had to stop. When I asked her why, she told me that a lady she knew complained that a preacher's wife should not be dancing. It's strange how we can make up many rules for others that God never made and bind them on others.
What is this miracle Jesus is referring to in verse 21? Back in chapter 5, Jesus heals the man who had been lame for 38 years at the pool of Bethsaida. If you remember, back and forth discussion between the man and the Jewish leaders. Finally, the leaders even confronted Jesus. Here is the climax of that discussion in 5:16 through 17.
Jesus was doing all this on the Sabbath day. So these Jews began trying to make him stop. But he said to them, "My Father never stops working, and so I work too."
The Sabbath day will appear quite a few times in the four Gospels. So let's look back at Exodus 28 through 11 to see what is being referred to.
You must remember to keep the Sabbath a special day. You may work 6 days a week to do your job, but the seventh day is a day of rest in honor of the Lord your God. So on that day, no one should work, not you, your sons and daughters, or your men and women slaves. Even your animals and the foreigners living in your cities must not work. That is because the Lord worked 6 days and made the sky, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. And on the seventh day, he rested. In this way, the Lord blessed the Sabbath, the day of rest. He made that a very special day.
Keeping the Sabbath is the fourth of the Ten Commandments. Throughout the 1500 years from Moses to Jesus, the Jewish leaders wrote many ideas about how others should keep this special day. What was considered work? God commanded circumcision to Abraham and his descendants in Genesis 17:12.
When the baby boy is 8 days old, you will circumcise him. Every boy born among your people and every boy who is a slave of your people must be circumcised.
But at the 8th day came on the Sabbath. Then circumcision took precedence over the Sabbath. What if some emergency came up on the Sabbath? Jesus brings up several situations in Luke. Jesus is indignant because the Jewish leaders hound him for healing a crippled woman on the Sabbath in Luke 13:13 through 16.
He laid his hands on her, and immediately she was able to stand up straight. She began praising God. The synagogue leader was angry because Jesus healed on the Sabbath day. He said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come to be healed on one of those days. Don't come for healing on the Sabbath day." The Lord answered, "You people are hypocrites. All of you untie your work animals and lead them to drink water every day, even on the Sabbath day. This woman that I healed is a true descendant of Abraham. But Satan has held her for 18 years. Surely it is not wrong for her to be made free from her sickness on a Sabbath day."
In Luke 14:5, Jesus healed a man right in a Jewish leader's home where he had been a guest. Again, it happened to be on the Sabbath.
Jesus said to the Pharisees and teachers of the law, "If your son or work animal falls into a well on the Sabbath day, you know you would pull him out immediately."
Jesus was a Sabbath keeper, but he also understood that a loving act, an emergency, or even giving water to your thirsty animals on the Sabbath was not what God meant when he commanded keeping the Sabbath. Men had created rules about Sabbath keeping, and they were binding these rules of men on others.